If you know my voice, you know my name. Suave Smooth, underground music legend, coming out of Florida, Palm Beach. A lot of people may not also know that I'm also an author. I go by my government name, James Jeremy. When I write my books, I got a couple books that I'm working on currently right now. And we're just here to talk about a lot that I have going on. Some of you may also know that I'm currently traveling all around the world, gaining a lot of knowledge and wisdom from different cultures all throughout the world.
All right, Suave. We're just gonna go through a couple of quick questions with you. You know what I mean, just to update people on what's going on with you. Just feel free to speak freely. You don't have to necessarily stick to the narrative, but these questions are more like a guideline. We just want to get the update on what's going on. So, how things been going with you? We noticed that you've been traveling a lot. You've been across seas. You've been to Egypt. Let the people know a couple of places that you've been so far and what you've picked up along the way.
Okay, well, so far, of course, I've been to Cairo, Egypt. Went there to see the Great Pyramids. I also been to London. Also went to Stonehenge. Had to go and check out Stonehenge, if anybody's familiar with that. Also been to Peru recently, to Cusco, Peru, to Machu Picchu, and also to participate in the ceremonies of the Incan and Shipibo shamans. A lot of people may not know, but I also was in Mexico during the time that everybody thought the world was going to end, according to the Mayan apocalypse, the Mayan prophecy. I've been to Mexico. I also been down to Belize. I was there at the Mayan underworld in Belize, dedicated to the Mayan god Chat. I also been to Honduras. Also been to Haiti, Jamaica, Bahamas, all throughout the Caribbean, the Cayman Islands. Just traveling, man, gaining a lot of knowledge from different cultures all around the world. And we're going to talk, what I really want to talk about is a lot of the things that I've gained, the knowledge and wisdom that I gained from the people that I bumped into. It's a lot of that stuff I never had the opportunity to really touch on. There's a lot of stuff that was so personal that I didn't know if I should release it out openly like that, but I think that it's time to really talk more about that today.
Okay, and what motivated you to start traveling? A lot of people, they want to travel, they want to see the world, but they always think like, oh, well, I gotta work, or I got bills to pay, and stuff like that. So a lot of times people always procrastinate on actually going to see what the world has to offer. So what was your motivation to get up and travel and to go see these places and, experience and gain this new knowledge?
Well, for me, 2016 had really been a bad year for me. And 2015 and 14 really wasn't that good. I think 2015 I lost like 9 family and friend members. My bad.
No, keep going.
In 2015 I lost like 9 loved ones, you know what I'm saying, from relatives and close friends. They all had passed away. And 2016 I lost my dad, and I had only found out he had cancer probably in October, and like soon came January, he was already dead. Right after that, I lost my marriage, and it just, after losing all of these things, it kind of made me realize that I could even lose my life. I came very close to losing my life. I blacked out, coming from a club on 95, and I was blacked out for like 2 hours straight. And when the police found me, they found me in the middle of the intersection, you know what I'm saying? And they had got a call that there was a dead body in the car. So when they came to me, they was so happy that I wasn't dead that they pretty much let me go. Of course I was drinking and stuff, but from going through that, I was going through like a sort of a depression state, from losing so much, you know what I'm saying? And once I realized that I was still alive, I was so happy to be alive, I knew that it was time to start living from that point on. I had always wanted to travel the world. A lot of people don't realize, but I studied metaphysics and esoteric ancient knowledge for a very long time, and spirituality. I also read and studied every single religion on the planet. So it was a lot that I should have been doing, a lot of stuff that I should have been doing my entire life.
Okay, Tell us a little bit about your background growing up, and how has traveling changed your views? And do you feel like traveling has completely changed your whole mind frame from, whether you be from the hood or whether you be from a different culture, some of the places that you've been, so many different cultures. Tell us a little bit about your background and how traveling has changed your whole point of view.
Yeah, well, for me, I grew up downtown West Palm Beach, and during the era that I grew up in, it was like the it was like the crack baby era, and a lot of people was born in like single family homes, single family households. Luckily for me, I grew up with my mom and dad. So, coming from that type of environment, we were set inside of a box mind state. I always wanted to go beyond that type of mind state. I always wanted to see more different things, So traveling for me to be able to go there, for a lot of the people that grew up around me, it was almost like me leaving the planet. It was that big for them to see me. A lot of people had fear. I couldn't really find many people even come with me because they had been fixed on all these different rumors of, oh man, you can't go to Egypt, they blowing people up. You can't go to Mexico, they cutting people's heads off. You can't go to Haiti, they robbing and stuff like that. A lot of people was just scared to go different places. So the furthest a lot of people went had only been Georgia and Alabama and places like that. A lot of the people that I grew up around, I knew cats from the streets, man. I watched these cats count like $100,000, $200,000 on the streets, man, and they never really been outside of Florida and don't want to go because they're afraid, oh, they go over there, something might happen to you. But anything that's gonna happen to you over there can happen to you over here. This West Palm Beach County, Florida, this is as ratchet as it get. A cat will run down on you, they'll do whatever they'll do to you, what I'm saying, any given day, in a broad day, nighttime, whatever. Over there, it's the people over there is totally different. They respect people, especially black people. The love that they have for black people over there is totally different. It's more of a brotherly love type of thing.
So I know a lot of people are going to ask, and I'm going to ask myself. You got to definitely explain. The outfit that you have on. Is this something that you picked up on your travels?
Most definitely. A lot of people that know me personally, they know I'm really, really deep into culture. Of course, if I was to go into my closet, this ain't the only one I got. I got my sister. She had also made me my own personal dashiki. I actually wore it during my wedding, during the time that I was married, and my ex, I remember she didn't, oh man, you can't wear that to the wedding. I'm like, man, listen, I ain't get married unless I'm wearing this dashiki to the wedding. Straight up. So I've always been really, really grounded into culture. So every time I travel to a new place, I always want to embrace that culture. I always want to engulf myself into it. So the first thing I did when I got to Egypt, I told my driver, shout out to my boy Sharif, told my driver, take me straight to the hood, man. I don't want to go to none of the tourist areas. Take me to the hood, and I want to get me a gala bill straight from the hood. So I didn't know he was going to take me right then and there. It was like 12 o'clock at night, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And we got in the car, and the stores were still open, the markets. They still open 24 hours because Cairo, Egypt is like China, what I'm saying? It's real overpopulated. So all these stores stay open around the clock. What I'm saying?
One question that I want to ask you, because I can actually remember, in grave detail, my first experience out of the country. Tell us a little bit about your first time actually leaving the U.S. and going into a completely different country, and how was that experience for you?
Well, the very first time, it was really nice. I think the first place probably was Bahamas. It wasn't really too far away. The first major step was with me and my ex. We had went to Mexico, and I actually had a chance to speak with the Mayan elders. And for me, that was a real big impact on my life. We had heard all these different theories that the world was going to end and all this type of crap here, but I went there and I was there with the Mayan elders. And I wish I would have got on that camera, but I didn't. But we we talked a lot about their history and their culture, and they explained to me that this was a new age, a new beginning. The age that we had just came out of was the age of Pisces. The age we're in right now is the age of Aquarius. This is the new age, basically when the ancient past meets the present and future. It all supposed to converge according to the Mayan prophecy.
Okay. What is one huge or memorable moment that you've had in your travels? What is the one thing, out of all the places that you've been, what is the one thing that stood out to you the most? Doesn't matter what country it was in, but what is the one thing that stood out to you the most?
Man, it was it was so many different experiences, man, that stood out to me the most. But out of all of them, it had to be Cusco, Peru. And I may say this until the end of the video because I want to explain the whole story. But I'm going to touch on it a little bit. A lot of people didn't realize I almost lost my life in Peru. I mean, I came this close to dying to the point that I accepted that I was going to die. And I just, I thought about my kids, I thought about everything I had done in my life, and I just accepted the fact that here I am, this is my death. But I ended up living. That was the most memorable experience for me.
And you want to go into details about exactly what it was, or it wasn't anything with the locals or anything? It was just...
No. I'm going to go into details, but I'm going to save it for the end because this is going to be a long story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we got the interview started, you was telling us a little bit about Egypt and, how the communities, they police themselves and, certain things that you saw that stood out to you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, the week that I got to Egypt, a week before I arrived, somebody hijacked the plane and crashed at the same exact airport that I was flying into. A lot of people didn't know that. I knew that, and I didn't want to tell people because I didn't want to put that kind of fear into nobody. I didn't want to, my family freaking out. They was already nervous that I was going there alone. So, of course, when I flew in, there was no one else in the airport besides the people that arrived on my plane. We were the only people there. And this was midnight, probably 12:30 at night. So, I got there, got me a little cab or whatever. We drove to my hotel. As I'm driving, we on the highway like I-95. I see two little teenagers sitting in the trunk of a car. The trunk was popped open. Now this midnight. Now we riding on the intersection, and in Egypt they don't have red lights. It ain't no red lights. It's a gold city. Everybody go, they blow their horn and keep going.
Lawless driving, basically.
Yeah. So ain't no police, ain't no state troopers, ain't no none of that. So the two teenagers, they sitting in the trunk of the car, and I look over. This is my first African experience. First time stepping foot on African soil. They got an AK-47 sitting on their lap, and they riding, they smoking hashish. That's what they smoke over there, passing it, these little jits. I'm like, damn, what I'm saying? I wasn't scared of nothing like that, because, coming from where I come from, we used to seeing people carry guns and stuff like that. But I was just like, wow, look at these little cats out here, wide open like that, And my driver, he was telling me, don't worry, it's okay. Over here, we police our own community and stuff. The police that you see, they only protect the government buildings. They don't really protect the community. And by being so overpopulated like that, it's like you have to have that. And I respected that so much. I think that, maybe we should start policing our own communities. A lot of the stuff that you see on the news, police shooting down unarmed men and stuff, people running from the police, getting shot in their back, that could never happen over in Egypt. That could never happen. They're not having that. They would never tolerate that. And I believe the reason why we tolerate it so much over here, because we have a certain level of fear instilled in us. And, that for me, that really was a big impact on me.
If you could give the younger version of you some advice, being that everywhere you've been and everything that you've learned over all of your, your traveling experiences, what advice would you give to your younger self from your older self right now?
I would probably say, man, to stop holding back, stop procrastinating, stop caring what people think. My younger self, when I was younger, I always cared about, how these people would react. How would this person think, So that caused me to procrastinate a whole lot. Because I was always, not really afraid, but just, I was always nervous of how people would think. I always tried to do what I thought people would like for me to do, even through the music. My first time actually being signed, a lot of people didn't even realize I had a major deal. Had a football player that was backing me, had got me a deal with a solid Warner Brothers. And with the deal, they wanted me to produce the type of music they wanted me to make. I wanted to do Florida, I wanted to do me, they wanted me to do more crossover, because I was recording in the Midwest. Something that people in the Midwest could relate to. And I was like, okay, well, hey, I got the deal, I might as well do whatever, make the money. And as an artist, man, we never get into that mind state of doing what other people expect you to do. Never. Always remain an artist. Don't do it for the money. Don't do it for what people might think. Don't do it because this is what's popping on the radio. You got to always do you, and that's the only way anybody could remain original. And just by having that experience with the music had almost got me to a point where I didn't even want to do it no more at all. I was just, I was so fed up with doing what other people expected me to do and not doing stuff for myself.
Let's talk a little bit about the music. Do you still have a passion for music? Is that something that's always going to be with you, or is that a chapter of your life that you've closed and you left it alone and you're on to bigger and better things?
No, actually, I was really born into the music. By the age of 9, I had taught myself how to play the piano by ear. I could play the piano. I still know how to play Beethoven pieces and a lot of real classical music type pieces, and I also play various different brass instruments. A lot of people know me personally. They know that I'm well versed in music, not just as far as with rapping. And I produce every song you ever heard me rap on. I was producing at the age of 14. That was big. Everybody, oh man, look at this little jit out the hood. This jit can make his own beats or whatever. It wasn't that big for me because I knew that, I was born into it like that. That was a gift that I was born with. So, of course, I'm still passionate about music. I still produce. I still record music. I also recorded 4 albums that was never released. And it wasn't until I went to Peru that I realized why it was never released. I had a real impactful experience that let me know, okay, this is why all those albums you record. A lot of people thought I just stopped making music. It's just I kept having so much bad luck with the music. I'll do an album, as soon as I get ready to drop it, something will go wrong. Something happened financially went wrong. It was always something keeping me from releasing those albums. And then when I was able to do it, I was like, oh man, it's too late now. This, you gotta remain current with the music. So the last album that I pretty much recorded was 2013, full-fledged album. And as soon as I got ready to release it, something went wrong. So I still got that album, I still listen to it. And I'm, of course, at that point again, well, nah, I'm not gonna release that, if I do the music. Now that I've grown and went to Peru and had that experience, I wanna come at the game completely different. Not as Suave Smooth, but something greater as myself, as James Jeremy, not as Suave Smooth. I know a lot of people, they still got that name Suave Smooth, what they do tied to the club and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere I go, not just Palm Beach, man, not just Florida. I still get calls from South Dakota. I had a big fan following, man, overseas.
I was just about to say, you had a huge following, so you basically just told your fans that you have, a couple of albums that have been unreleased. Yeah. I mean, I don't care how uncurrent the music is, I'm pretty sure your fans are like they drooling right now. Like
yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it shows all my growth though throughout the years.
Absolutely.
All the different albums and stuff.
So can we expect an album from Suave Smooth or Jeremy or both?
Most definitely. Yeah, that's currently in the making right now. That's definitely in the making. You'll be surprised, man. A lot of, especially like in the Midwest, a lot of these cats, you know, in Palm Beach, I'm just a regular guy, but over there, they look at me like Boosie, or you know what I mean, or somebody like that. They was calling me. They asked me, you know, for features or whatever. I do a lot of features with a lot of people from the Midwest and the West Coast and stuff like that. And when I tell them my prices, they be like, "Man, you serious? Or you just kidding me? You for real?" Like, nah, man, that's like, man, I gotta up my prices.
might need to go up a little bit.
Yeah, I be charging regular price. I be charging the cats around here, though. You know what I'm saying?
Does traveling outside of the country make you appreciate the U.S.?
Well, yeah, and one way, a lot of the places I've been to, and this is crazy, they don't have all the colors that we have here. That's the craziest thing about Florida. Florida is a beautiful place, and I didn't realize how beautiful Florida was until I went to all these different places. And you can't compare none of these places to Florida. I mean, all these, how blue our skies are, how clear the area is, you know, how beautiful the flowers are. You start to realize all of those things. When I was in Egypt, they only have 3 colors. It's tan, gray, and brown. Everything. I mean, you look at the landscape, the buildings, on once a week or once a month, the sky's blue. Other than that, I mean, because they're surrounded by a big old desert, every time the wind blows, it blows that sand in the sky. So the whole sky looks just like the desert. The buildings are stained with sand and stuff. I mean, it's still good, it's still beautiful, but you know, it can't compare to Florida. Florida is a very beautiful place in comparison to all these other places.
Okay, so we're gonna touch back real quick before we go to Peru. You said you wanted to, you know, it was a little bit of a long story, but tell us about that experience. And you know, it seems like this had a permanent impact on your life. Tell us about that experience and how it changed you.
All right. Of course, the reason why I went to Peru was also to visit Machu Picchu. First of all, I also want to talk about this too. A lot of the places that I go to, I don't just, you know, pick random places. I want to go here to hang out. I want to go there to hang out. I've studied about these places for many years. I've researched them. I know that they all exist on what is called ley lines. These ley lines are like the chakras of Earth, the energy centers. So when you go to these places like Stonehenge, the Great Pyramids of Egypt, Machu Picchu, the energy is different. I mean, you feel hell stand up on your neck, a lot of different things like that. The energy is very different. So when I went to Peru to visit Machu Picchu, I also spoke with the shamans. I spoke with the shamans from the Incan civilization, their descendants. I also spoke with shamans from the Shipibo village that's closer to the Amazon jungle, around the Amazon River. And I also was allowed to participate in 4 of their ceremonies. This was something that I really wanted to do when I went to Egypt also, but I realized that the people in Egypt, at least most of the people that I ran into, they're more engulfed into religion and you know, Islam, which is cool. You know, like I said, I've studied all religions and I have respect for all religions. But I actually have wanted to learn more about, you know, Kemet, ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. When I went there, and I had to really do that on my own. I didn't have anybody to really help me with that. You know, I had to go there and learn from the museums and actually go to the pyramids and ask some of the so-called Egyptologists what the hieroglyphics meant. And I did learn more things that you don't really learn and see, you can't really look up. That's one good thing about traveling. You learn a lot about stuff that you just can't go to Wikipedia and find out. You know, a lot of people think, oh, I don't have to go there, I can just Google search it. No, it ain't that simple. And I learned that firsthand when I went to Peru. In the ceremonies, I'm gonna talk more about all 4 of them. And Right now, I want to say this respectfully to anybody that feel like they're very closed-minded, anybody that feels that they're very fearful, anyone that feels that they're very grounded in their religion. I don't want to disrespect you in any kind of way. So at this point of the video, you may want to turn it off, because what I'm about to say may offend closed-minded people, because a lot of the stuff that I experience is very much out there. The first ceremony, what is called the Kunti ceremony. I met with my Incan shaman. He handed me 3 cocoa leaves. I took the 3 cocoa leaves, he took 3. I chewed the cocoa leaves, he chewed the cocoa leaves. He handed me 3 more, and he asked me to blow on those leaves 3 times. I blew on those leaves 3 times, handed them back to him. He shuffled them with 3 other cocoa leaves, and he threw them on the ground in front of me, and he read my entire life. He read my past lives that I lived before this lifetime. He also read my future. For a person to be that much spiritually evolved, you know, we don't have that over here in the US. And the reason why is because of the distractions that we have. You know, look at what's going on with the media. Look at what's going on, you know, with what's going on in Syria. All this stuff, you know, we bombarded with. Look at the stuff that's going on in the community, you know, all the shootings and all this type of stuff. We have so many distractions that distract us away from spirituality. After this man read my life, he looked at me as a representative of America, of North America. He was like, listen, man, he spoke Quechua, so my coordinator, Italo, he had to actually translate everything this guy was speaking to me. Quechua is the ancient language of the Incas. They still speak that. That's how much grounded they are into their history and their culture. A lot of people don't even realize that, you know, these people don't even speak Spanish. The conquistadors, my bad, wasn't able to go over there and you know, shut that part of their history down. So he said, there are people homeless in America. I was like, yeah, they are. They're homeless people. He said, how can a person be homeless on a planet that's theirs without someone taking them away from that planet? And I paused for a minute and I had to think about it, because it made so much sense. He's like, do these people even realize that they're being taught to be homeless? You all exist on a wheel. You go to work, you eat, you sleep, you may hang out a little bit, and then you get up and do it again. But everything in our lives is based around money. He said, in our culture, we don't need money. We have our food, we have our water, all of our food is organic, all of our water is natural. We don't even need doctors. I'm the doctor in our community. That's what the shaman told me. They come to me for spiritual healing and spiritual cleansing. And at that moment, I realized that, you know, us in America, we think that, you know, we're a superpower. We think that we got all this going on and stuff like that, but really we're not. We're like babies in comparison to people that are spiritually evolved to this state. Even though these people, you know, they're not really poor. They're so rich in spirit that they could never be poor. They could never be homeless. These people know how to fish. They know how to, you know, if they want to eat meat, they know how to hunt. They raise their own animals. Everything they do for themselves. They don't depend on their government at all. So there's no way that money could stop them from living. He told me that, you know, do people even realize that money is just paper with the faces of slave masters and oppressors? Do they even realize that? And, you know, I say, you know, maybe it's more about an ego thing. You know, everybody want to get so much money, you know, to live and be what they think is free. He said, you know what, it's a belief system. They're all belief systems. Your religions are belief system. The monetary system is a belief system. Even racism. You know, you have people that's racist because they have no knowledge of the spirit. Many of you are familiar with Atlantis, but he told me that I was from Atlantis, and he explained a lot about who I was in Atlantis, and my spirit form was what they would look at as a sacred spirit form, someone who they would pray to. That's how excited he was about meeting me. And he said, that is what's driving me to go to all these places in this lifetime. This is what he told me. So that was the Kunti ceremony. I ain't gonna take up too much time. The second one, I'm sorry, that was the cocoa leaf ceremony. The second one was the Kunti ceremony. Now, when I arrived in Peru, I had like flu-like symptoms. I was sick, had a little cold or whatever. The weather was constantly changing. I was in a different climate. You know, when I left Florida, it was like 70 degrees. When I got to Cusco, it was 50 degrees. It was cold. So I just knew I wasn't going to be able to get better because it was raining also. It was raining a lot. In order to participate in their ceremonies, I wasn't allowed to eat meat for almost 2 weeks. No meat. I'm vegetarian anyway. A lot of people didn't realize that. No canned food. No drinks with artificial coloring or flavoring. Not too much sugar. No sex. No masturbation. It's real, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, because see, they look at the soul as like a battery. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these things drain the battery. So they want to make sure my soul was completely charged up before I could participate in their ceremonies. And then they provide me with 9 glasses of volcanic water straight from a volcano. Now, after these ceremonies, I woke up the next morning, my flu was gone, my cold was gone. How did they do that? I don't know. But they went into my aura during this Kunti ceremony, rubbed me down with these things that represented the 5 elements: earth, wind, water, fire, and spirit. And they removed negative blockages out of my aura. How could they possess this type of knowledge? Why don't we have this here in our communities? I don't know. But that is the reason why they don't need doctors. Because they actually cleanse the soul, the spirit. We don't even realize that, most of us don't even realize we even have a spirit. We don't even realize we even have an aura or know what an aura is. Another one of the ceremonies was the Pachamama ceremony. During this ceremony, he had to go and ask Mother Earth, which is what they call Pachamama, if I could have permission to participate in their ceremonies. And after that, he also went in and talked about some of the things that he saw when he read my past life, my future, and my present, and asked if I could have guidance with that. And he took care of that. Now, this last ceremony is the Ayahuasca ceremony. This is the one where I came very close to my death. And, you know, it's up to you, Hook Man, if you want to publish this part, because it's going to get very deep. And I'm going to tell this story as it is.
Oh, this is getting published. This is going all out.
It's cool with you. You're going down there.
I've learned a lot already, so go ahead, take off.
A lot of people don't really know what ayahuasca is. From what I learned, Aya and Huasca, I'm hoping that I'm breaking it down the right way. It pretty much means the vine of death, or the rope of death, because it brings you that close to death. And I really didn't realize that until I actually participated in the ceremony. But it changes your life. It impacts you so much that it changes your life. And only people who have done an ayahuasca ceremony realize that. So anyways, they handed me this tea. Ayahuasca is a tea. It's made from 2 ingredients: the ayahuasca vine and what is called the chacruna leaves. The leaves themselves contain DMT. DMT is what is called the spirit molecule in water, basically. So when they brew this tea together, they give me this tea. I drank the tea. I'm talking to the shaman. Oh yeah, man, you know, of course I ain't never tried this before, but you know, I'm very healthy, whatever. I may want to drink more than 1 cup and da. So he gave me a little more than what he was supposed to give me. I was only supposed to receive like a shot glass. He gave me like almost just a little bit under a cup. And I wish he would have never done that. That was way too much for me. He gave me the cup. I drank the ayahuasca. Ayahuasca also makes you throw up. They say when you throw up, you're releasing the negative energy from your body. You know, of course I understand all that, but coming from America, you know, when you hear negative energy and this and that, you know, I studied all these different things, but in my mind I was like, man, there ain't no negative energy in or whatever, you know. So I ain't really think too much about that part. But as soon as I drunk it, and it tastes like prune juice mixed with barbecue sauce. That's how nasty it tastes. I drunk it, so I sat for a little while. I was just telling them, you know, I probably ain't gonna even throw up because I drank that liquor and this and that. Man, I threw up. I threw up very bad. As soon as I threw up and sat back and blinked my eyes, as soon as I sat back, let me pause for a second. If you look up ayahuasca, they're gonna try to explain it as a hallucinogenic brew. That's not what it is. What it does, it taps you into your higher senses. Right now, you know, we see, we hear, we taste, we smell. You know, those are our senses. This thing opens up your third eye. As soon as I blinked my eyes, I saw like 50 of the most beautifulest cats I never in my life liked. The cats, I don't really care about cats. I don't have pets. But I saw these cats, and these cats were staring at me. Beautiful cats. A type of cat that don't exist today. I had to do a lot of research after the ayahuasca. I found out that this ancient breed of cat is what they call the Sphinx Cat. It was much taller, had very long ears. All of these cats was decorated. Hieroglyphic necklaces around their necks, bracelets, gold bracelets, gold earrings. And they were all staring at me like something was about to happen. Now, I want to pause again. 9 years ago, I participated in a past life regressive hypnosis session where I was allowed to see my past life, one of my past lives, which is why I knew the shaman was telling the truth about Atlantis, because I saw myself there with a woman. The woman was very human-like, but at the same time she had the characteristics of a lion. There was also a man there, and there was a statue that I had never seen before. The statue, what I later found out, like 2 years later, is called the Griffin. He was inside this temple, very deep underground, somewhere in Atlantis. It was dark, but there was no fire to illuminate the place. They had the technology to convert oxygen into light. And when they converted the oxygen into light, the whole air was kind of like a greenish color. This is what I saw in that past life experience 9 years ago. I didn't know who the woman was. I didn't know who the man was. I saw the way the lady was dressed. And as I went on with my life, I realized that that woman was an ancient goddess in Egypt called Setman, who I had no knowledge of until many years after that experience. She was an ancient deity in Egypt. She was the goddess of Ma'at, balance, justice, and law. Now, back to the ayahuasca session. I saw these cats. As these cats sat around, a woman came and presented herself. This was the same woman I saw from that past life experience 9 years ago. It was Setman. So, in my past life experience, it was just something that I saw and then it went away. I wrote it off as a dream. I didn't really think too much about it, even though I started realizing a lot of the stuff I saw was real when I looked it up. This woman, Setman, I asked her, I said, well, were you the woman that I saw in that past life experience? Just like how we talking today. I'm blanking my eyes, but I could see her in my mind. And she was like, I've been with you through all of your past lives. I'm your spiritual guardian. That's what she told me. Her voice was as clear as we talking right now. And she showed me all of my past lives, so many of my past lives. I didn't even imagine that a person could have that. She explained to me all human beings have past lives. Whether they believe it or not, it takes several past lives to even become a rational thinking human being. Any person you see with slow learning disabilities, that person hasn't had that many lifetimes yet to evolve. When she showed me this thing, I'm being taught by an interdimensional being. Right now, as I'm sitting there having this drink, and I'm learning different things, and there's no way that something like that could be possible without being real. She allowed me to experience the ayahuasca. And the ayahuasca itself, many people call the ayahuasca an actual spirit form because of how knowledgeable and powerful it is itself. Everything you see in the movie Doctor Strange, I say about 70% of that is real, except for the storyline. But a lot of what you see is real. This woman allowed me to step outside of my body and see the vastness of the universe. And at that moment, she didn't even have to say this. It was like a download of information that came to me. And I understood that all of the planets throughout the universe were the cells of the universe. All of the people that live on the planets throughout the cosmos, and I say planets with an S, peoples throughout the cosmos, human beings just like us, just live on other different planets. All of these people are the cells of these planets. And everything we think, whether our thoughts are positive or negative, affects the planets. The rivers, the streams, all of these are the veins of the planets. They must not be dammed. We dam a lot of these, rivers and stuff, to use them for energy. We drain the planet from oil. The oil is like the blood of the planet. All of this stuff affects the planet. Natural disasters themselves are the planet's immune system to protect the planet. You will notice, I realized this in ayahuasca, in my ayahuasca ceremony. Places like Africa, places like South America, a lot of places where tribes live do not have natural disasters. You realize that. Nobody never asked themselves why, because these people are the caretakers of the planet. We think that we are more advanced and more evolved, but in reality, a lot of these tribes, they're far more advanced. They know that the planet is alive. They know that the planet is a living being. This is not a belief system. This is a reality. As I received this downloaded information instantly, just like that, she also allowed me to see myself. At the moment I saw myself, and this is where the story take a very deep turn. When I looked at myself, I saw an entity attached to me, a demonic entity. And it was trying so hard to hide, but the ayahuasca was allowing me to see it. And at that moment, it left my body, and as soon as it left my body, I kept seeing shadows in the corner, and I kept looking like, damn, I'm sitting up here in this ceremony. I just saw something in my body leave my body. So I sat back, and now I'm almost scared. I'm not even paying attention to the woman. I don't tune all that out. I'm like, hold up, man. I just saw something that just threw me off.
Scared the hell out of you.
Yeah. So I sat back, my eyes open, eyes not closed. I watched 3 beings walk through the door. No hallucinating, none of that type of stuff. 3 entities. They thought I couldn't see them. These were interdimensional beings also. 2 of them looked very similar to the description of what we would call extraterrestrial grays, the ones with the big head and black eyes. One of them had more like an exoskeleton type body. And they came in to communicate with the entity that left my body. And I'm just going to tell you exactly how I saw this. I'm not going to interpret anything or none of that type of stuff. I don't care if anybody think I'm crazy. I'm going to tell you just like how it was. They spoke to this thing, not telepathically, which is telepathy is something that I do understand. They spoke to this thing through their emotions. I could pick up everything that they were feeling as they was explaining it. And they wanted to know what the ayahuasca was doing with me. Am I about to die? And I can sense this entity. I couldn't see it at the time because it kept trying to hide, telling them it doesn't know. It lost control of me. It's not able to control me at this point. At the exact same time these entities was communicating with this demon, I was able to tap into the mind of these beings. That's what the ayahuasca allowed me to do. And I realized that they had a massive agenda to send demonic entities on several people. A lot of people that was at a point in their life where they was gaining knowledge and wisdom, they were attaching demons to these people. That's just as real as it is. That's what they was doing. And at that moment, when I saw all that and I felt all that negativity, I kind of snapped. I'm like, oh, who are y'all? And when I said that, they realized I could see them. And they got so nervous, they disappeared just like that. So now I'm stuck in the ceremony. A lot of the people, they coming over to me asked me, is everything okay? And I couldn't explain what I just saw. I'm like, hold on, when I looked up ayahuasca ceremonies, everything was all light and beautiful, but I just saw something that just threw me completely off. You know what I mean? Everything was, I saw the colors and the geometric patterns and all that, but I just saw something I think I wasn't supposed to see. So, they went back over and they, tried to talk me through it and, explain everything was okay. So now I don't want to see anything else. I'm concerned right now. At that very second, a hand reached over my neck, grabbed me, and choked me, and a voice came through my right ear and told me that it was going to kill me, and that it would kill me before it let me remove it from my body. That's what this thing told me. It started choking me. My heart rate dropped so low to the point that I could barely breathe. It caused me to go completely blind in my right eye. I lost all sight, and it was getting ready to make me go blind in my left eye. It was shutting down all of my vital signs. So now this is the most scared I have ever been in my entire life. I never experienced that much fear in my whole life. Something almost invincible telling me that it's gonna kill me. So they had to come over to me. They had to rub me down with all these kind of spiritual herbs. They was blowing tobacco over me, and I'm asking them to help me, but they don't know how to help me because they couldn't see it. And I'm trying to explain this thing is shutting me down where I can't even get my words out. So, I'm praying, everything. I'm trying everything in my power to live. And at that point, I realized I couldn't fight it no more. I couldn't see. I'm trying to open my eyes. I'm trying to realize why my vision went out. And I just laid down. I say, I've been to Egypt. I've had kids. I done did this. I done did that in my life. And I accepted I was going to die. So I laid down and was preparing myself to die. And the voice came through me again. It was the woman segment. And she told me, no matter what goes on in your life, never accept death. Never. Never accept that you're going to die. I don't care what it is. You're way more powerful than you realize. All human beings are far powerful than they realize. I cannot fight this battle for you, but I know that you can beat this yourself. When that voice went away, I stood up and I confronted this demon, and I asked his name. I'm gonna tell you his name. I said I wasn't gonna say that. It told me his name was Zahorad. It said it very proudly and clearly. At the moment it said his name, the very second this demon said his name, and I repeated his name back, the ayahuasca showed me the power of names. We say things like words and all this type of stuff. When we say words, spells, we spell out letters. There's energy behind these names and these words because they are vibrations. That's why they call it casting spells. The same way you spell letters, it's just like casting spells. When I said this into this name, inside the vibration of his name, I was able to see its entire life. I saw that it had been worshipped by other different tribes and stuff. This thing was very old, very ancient. It had been around the planet for a very long time. I saw its intentions and the reason why it chose me. On a certain level, our personalities were very similar. I was very laid back. This thing was also very laid back. Besides the fact that it was a negative entity. It felt that if it can get inside me, it would be very difficult for me to detect it and even realize it was death. And it really didn't want to do any harm to me. It wanted to do harm to people around me. It was manipulating people to be very negative to me, to keep me very distant, to keep me very secluded and alone. And it wanted to keep me that way. And it wanted to help me reach a certain level to become a spiritual leader. That's what its plan was. It saw that at a certain level, some point in my life, I was going to become a spiritual leader, and it wanted to help all of the people that followed me become possessed. And I saw that. And at that moment, when I saw that, I almost got angry with it for even trying to play with me like that. And I confronted it again. And when I said his name again, that was how I was able to cast it out of me. And I told it, you have to leave. You can't have any kind of control over me. You have to leave. You have to go back where it came from. And when it left my body, the entire room shook. I wanted to believe it was just imagination. It was just all in my head. When I tell you this room shook, the walls and ceilings cracked, everybody got scared. They didn't know what was going on. This was like a real life exorcism. They had to come over to me, tell me to keep drinking water. I drank water. I threw all up like the exorcist and everything. I'm dead serious, bro. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. And I hope I don't put any fear in.
I mean, you can't even make this up if you wanted to.
Yeah, I couldn't. I hope I don't put no fear into anybody that's planning to do ayahuasca, because I think it's a beautiful thing. Overall, it was a beautiful experience, and I'm glad I did that. And when I made this thing leave, you could see so much bright light just engulf the room. It was just unbelievable. All the light that came through the cracks of the doors, just pure white light. And I never felt that much love in my entire life when this thing was gone. This woman told me that she was proud of me. She knew that I could do it. And basically she told me a whole lot more about my life and about how she watched me grow, you know, as a person, and how I needed to protect myself. And she also wanted me to explain to people the power of prayer and meditation. That when you pray, you send messages. When you meditate, you receive messages. She wanted me to explain those two things. She also wanted me to explain the importance of what is called Kundalini. A lot of people are not familiar with that, but with Kundalini, it's very simple things that's about meditation and breathing techniques. But when you breathe, you actually breathing in cosmic energy and you inhaling cosmic energy. But all these things could actually extend a person's life, make them live longer. It also helps you evolve spiritually, and you know, it really cleanses the consciousness. So I want a lot of people to look more into that. I'm actually, as I receive this information, I'm looking more into it myself. Another thing that I saw after that whole experience, this was the last thing. Me and this woman, we spoke a little bit more, and then she left. The ayahuasca allowed me to know, see everything that I want to know and see, to the point that I ran out of questions. Anything you ask, you would know. Anything you want to see, you can see. It knew I was going to Machu Picchu. It showed me Machu Picchu from an X-ray standpoint. I can see inside Machu Picchu, the whole mountain that I was at. I can see inside of it, and I saw that it was a big underground like cave deep below it where people live. A race of beings live down there. It showed me that. It also showed me this thing that attached itself to me, this demonic entity thing. When it was alive, this thing was not human. The only way I can explain what this thing was, it had the appearance of a reptile. In human form, but the appearance of a reptile. What people would probably call a reptilian. That's what this thing was, and there were tribes that worship and praise this thing. I saw the exact location of where it was. It was somewhere around the east coast of South America. I don't know the place. I didn't look at the map to really pinpoint it, but I saw the exact place. I saw them holding the actual burial ceremony for this entity right there, somewhere very close to a cave. And that's what I saw. They can call me crazy, call me whatever they want to call me. I want to encourage more people to look up ayahuasca, look at the testimonies of ayahuasca. A lot of the things that I'm saying, you will also hear other people saying they receive information from interdimensional beings. Also, before I close out, I want to encourage more people to travel. Travel, you know, even if you just want to travel, you know, with fun, go ahead and travel and have your fun. For me, it's all about culture, knowledge, and gaining wisdom. And I'm pretty much done, man.
Anything else you want to close out with before we go? Just you know, any shout outs or anything like that?
I have a lot of people right now, they want to know what's the next place. No, I'm not done. Just talked my mama into getting a passport. I want to take her to Jerusalem and Bethlehem. I'm planning on doing that whenever she get a passport. I plan on hitting South America soon, and you all gonna see what I plan on doing now. I don't really want to get too much into it, but if anybody that's familiar with Credo Mutwa, I've been in contact with Credo Mutwa. For those who don't know, Credo Mutwa is like a master historian of ancient African history. Some of his documentaries, they're very, very, you know, very, very powerful documentaries. I've been in contact with him. He's 96 years old. Many people would consider him a shaman, but in Zulu, to the Zulus, he would be called a Sangome. And he's considered an elder. He has a hospital named after him. He has his own museum. You know, there's a lot of different stuff that he got going on. But he's at a point in his life where he's very old now. He wants to release all of the history. His history, all the knowledge he has goes back to the Great Flood. He says that the history of African people goes far beyond the Great Flood, beyond Adam and Eve. A lot of that history was lost during the flood, but it's a lot of the knowledge that he has is very deep. So hopefully, according to his health, they told me his health wasn't that good right now because he's very old, but if his health is pretty much up to date, I plan on going to South Africa to meet with Craig Mutwa. I also plan on going to Switzerland, Rome, Greece. It's a lot of different places, man. Anybody else think any place they want to see me at? I'm at a point, man, anywhere around the world I want to do it. I'm so happy that I could just get up and just do it. Traveling itself is not expensive. For me to travel to Egypt, I just stayed at the club 1 month. If you go to the club, you buy bottles and all that type of stuff at the club, you can afford to do all those places. Right now to go to Paris, leaving from Miami, is cheaper than a cruise. It's like $450 to $500. To go right now to Rome and places like that, you can go to these places $600-700. If you can go on a cruise, you can afford to go anywhere around the world. It's not that difficult. Just make sure that you get your travel visa. I got screwed up like that real bad when I went to Peru. A lot of people didn't realize that I was trying to go to Peru and Brazil at the same time. But once I realized that Peru, I didn't need a visa, I figured, oh, I wouldn't need a visa in Brazil either. But when I got to the airport, they wouldn't even let me in because I ain't have my travel visa. So I lost a lot of money on it. I had to pay for my hotel rooms. I lost a whole lot of money. And that was pretty much it. There was another part of the story I want to talk about too. I can't believe I almost forgot about this. And I'm gonna say it too. I don't care what the repercussions is. I'm gonna talk about it. When I was in that ayahuasca ceremony, having all those experiences, there was a woman that wasn't supposed to be there. I never really got her name. I don't know how this woman even knew my name, but I definitely want to talk about this. She came, she participated in the ceremony, you know, she was concerned, I saw the concern in her face about how the ayahuasca was affecting me or whatever, and, you know, she left or whatever. Only thing she said to me that she was supposed to be in Peru for like 2 weeks and she was going to stay there at the retreat center for like a week. And I told them I was leaving and going to Brazil, but I ended up getting stuck in Lima, Peru, and had to stay there 2 days before I flew back to Miami. The day I flew back to Miami, I flew in from Lima to Miami. I got off the plane and I heard a voice calling me by my first name, James. So I'm like, you know, I know nobody ain't just come from Peru that know me. So I kept walking. I had, you know, like a tap on the shoulder. I turned around, it's the woman that was in the room with me. And I was so shocked because I couldn't put together how could this woman be here when she had just said she was going to be in Peru, and you know, she did say that she lived in Carolina somewhere. She wasn't supposed to be there. How that woman got there, I don't know. But she kept trying to get past that question. She was like, you know, I just wanted to make sure that you was okay, and how are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine or whatever. You know, what are you doing here? And you know, she said, oh, well, I ended up canceling my flight and coming home earlier. You know, I came home earlier. So I asked the lady if we could take a picture. You know, this is so rare that we ended up meeting again. Let's take a picture. So we took a picture. Held the phone, we took a picture. I snapped 2 photos, checked both the photos before the lady left. And, you know, both pictures came out nice. She walked away. And that was the last time I saw her. When I looked at my phone again, there was only 1 photo. And the photo that I had was very distorted. You couldn't see this woman. And I remember her telling me before I left, after I took the picture, her attitude changed. She was like, you know, I'm not into social media and all that type of stuff, so please don't post a photo on any type of website or anything like that. No Facebook and all that type of stuff. So I was like, okay, but I couldn't understand why would she even say that. And then she walked off, and then the picture was distorted. Who this woman was, I don't know who this woman was. What this woman was, I don't know. But I wanted to share that also for people to think about if they think about traveling alone, because there's a lot of stuff like that you gotta watch out for. It was very weird. I don't know what to make of it. Before she left, she also wanted to throw out the, oh, I was in Lima also for a few days. And I knew that wasn't true. What was you doing in Lima when you paid these people to be at this place for a whole week? You know, nothing about it made sense. I was also interrogated too. When I flew in through London, everybody wanted to know who I was going to Egypt to meet. I wasn't going to meet nobody. I was just going to the pyramid. So, you know, it's a lot. You gotta keep your eyes open when you go out there and you travel the world. And I'm just saying that as a caution. Who that woman was, what that woman was, who she worked for, I have no idea. How she was able to manipulate my photo after I took the photo, I have no idea. You know, I don't know what to make of that. I'll let you all use your imaginations or whatever. Figure that one out. And that's all I got, man.